You've been posting consistently. You are showing up on Instagram, creating content, following all the tips that Instagram guru gave you, and you're getting likes and maybe even comments, but nobody is buying. And inside your brain, you're starting to think something like, is it me? Is it my offer? Do I just not have what it takes? I'm not as cute as this girl. My house looks like a mess. But here's what I need you to hear right now. It's not you and it's not your offer. It's the strategy. More specifically, you've been handed a strategy built for a completely different buyer, and nobody's telling you that. And maybe even they're denying it. Welcome back to the Sold Out Sales School. I'm Trish Ware, former labor and delivery nurse, mama of 7, homeschooling mom, travel nurse, and a woman who built a 7-figure business selling to moms and parents and a 7-figure coaching business. So if you're new here, here's what you need to know about me. I am the only business coach I know of who has actually built a massive B2C brand. That means business to consumer, selling to normal people, not other entrepreneurs, not business owners, not coaches, which, trust me, is so much easier. I sold to moms, to parents, to families. And that distinction, that's everything. That's what this whole podcast is about. So let's get into it. I want to tell you a quick story before we get into everything. So I had a client. She came to me. She was almost at 100,000 followers, like 85,000, I think. Her content was amazing. She is so good at creating engaging, educational, relatable, getting tons of engagement. People love her, commented on everything, shared everything. She had a real audience, but she wasn't making daily sales. She wasn't even making much at all from that. And when we started digging into it, the problem wasn't her content. The problem was her type of content. And the deeper problem was she wasn't selling. She had this belief that to talk about her offers, which at the time were more in person, she felt like that was like ick and she didn't want to be that person. So she would show up, she gave tons of value, she helped everyone, answered questions, poured into her audience, but she never actually asked people to buy anything. So we mapped out a really simple low ticket offer, which is also like a pathway into her higher offer. But also it was an alternative to people who couldn't afford her in person or weren't in her area. And we worked on her messaging around selling and invited people to buy. And when she finally launched and actually invited people into her offer, she did high 5 figures in a few days. Same audience, same content, same person. The only thing we changed was her strategy and the fact that she finally asked for the sale. So stick with me today because by the time this episode is over, you're going to understand exactly why your content isn't converting and what to do about it. Now, I want to take you back into a season in my business that I don't talk about enough. So building Labor Nurse Mama, we were growing fast, tens of thousands of followers, a real audience that were soaking up everything I posted, women who were showing up, commenting. And I thought, okay, I need to level this up. So I need to scale. I was already making really good money, right? And I decided to invest in my very first business coach. And the business coach that I hired was well recommended by the big names, Amy and Jenna and all the people, right, that were so popular back in, 2017, 2018, what have you. And I was really impressed by this coach. I did a discovery call. I was so excited. Sounded like he knew exactly what I needed. And I got to my very first call, and within minutes, I realized he does not understand selling to moms. I implemented things that he recommended, and it did not work. Not the way it was supposed to. In fact, because I was implementing his ideas, thinking it would work, I wasn't doing it as well as I had been doing, and I definitely wasn't scaling. And I just couldn't understand because I would do what he said and it landed flat, like boom. And I would sit there thinking, what in the world am I doing wrong? Why is this working for him and not for me? And I would start to doubt myself. And honestly, on the calls, which by the way, I only got a few with him. The rest were with like a co-coach who had not even built what I had built. That's just a side note. But I was really so frustrated. And I felt like there was something wrong with me because I was doing what he was saying. There were some things I wasn't doing, to be honest, because I knew damn well it wouldn't work. Thank God I didn't try it. But I finally realized they did not understand selling to moms. They understood selling to other business owners, and they are not the same buyer. I want y'all to hear me. It is not you. It is your strategy. Every single strategy I was being taught was designed for one and completely wrong for the other. Listen, if you're selling to business owners, girl, I got your back. I can teach you. It is so much easier. Like if you're a coach who coaches or whatever, I can teach you how to sell. Selling to moms, I am the only one who can teach that. Because when I finally saw that there was a difference, when I finally understood why nothing was working, everything changed. And I realized I'm on my own here, girl. But if you know me, I'm an action taker, right? Action takers are money makers. I stopped trying to apply entrepreneurial strategies to a consumer audience, and I built something completely different. And that's when things started to scale. Then when I finally said, okay, stop trying to do these B2B strategies. They're not going to work. So here's the principle I want you to walk away with today. The women you are selling to is not looking for you. She is escaping. So my daughter, she just had a baby recently, and she spends a lot of time scrolling while she's breastfeeding, not because she's trying to learn like some, strategy for whatever, not because she's trying to solve a problem. She's tired and she's stuck sitting there. Well, I don't want to say stuck sitting there because she loves it, but she just wants to turn off her brain for a minute. She's scrolling for entertainment, for distraction, for something that just, distracts her brain. And that is how most moms are on Instagram. They are not sitting down with a notepad in CEO mode thinking, let me find solutions to my problems right here and now. They are hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes. They're sitting in the school pickup line. They're scrolling while their kids watch Bluey so they can have one moment of peace. They are not in buyer mode. They are in like escape or survival mode. And if your content is written for someone in buyer mode or it's logical, solution focused, evaluating options, she's going to scroll right past you every single time. So let me break down my 4 mom buyer types. And I want you to understand that you have different types of moms or different types of people looking at your content, whether you're selling to moms or consumers or even business owners, to be honest. But this is the difference when you're selling to moms or normal people. Number 1 is who I call my Ready Rachel. She knows what's going on. She's desperate for a solution right now. I had a woman who found me from one reel. She DM'd me and said, I have spent $60,000 on business coaches, and you are the first person I've ever heard say that selling to moms is different than selling to entrepreneurs. Every coach I've had has said it's the same. It should be working. We never did a discovery call. She didn't need a long nurture sequence. She asked about my offers and she joined my highest level offer, my highest level one-on-one. That is a Ready Rachel. When she feels seen, she doesn't need convincing. She just needs a place to buy. The next buyer type is hesitant Haley. And there's this one, she can be a stinker. I have a joke that I've been dating in the DMs with one person for 2 years. If she's listening, you know who you are. She asks amazing questions. She wants results. She starts to pull the trigger. She doesn't. She's interested. And, she's been burned before. She's hired coaches who haven't helped her. And she's not just buying a program. She's trying to make sure she can trust the person she's buying from. Haley doesn't need more information. She needs safety, proof, and consistency. Then there's Lurker Linda. Lurker Linda has been watching you for months. She hasn't commented. She hasn't DM'd. You have no idea she's out there. Don't give up on her. She is coming into your container. She's the reason you have to be consistent. Unaware Uma. Uma doesn't even know she has the problem yet. She thinks exhaustion, the overwhelm, the chaos, the peeing in her pants, right, after a baby is just normal life. She needs your educational content. She needs you to open her eyes. So your content needs to stop trying to convince her and stop trying to connect with her. Stop talking about the offer, which if you haven't listened to my episode about Hawaii, we're going to link to it in the bottom, but make sure you listen to the episode talking about you need to stop talking about what you offer and start talking about what she feels and what she wants. So here's a line I want you to write down. Confused people don't buy. Seen people do. When she reads your content and thinks, oh my gosh, that's me, that's when she becomes a buyer instead of a friend. I want to be really honest with you guys. There was a time in my business where I made a decision that felt really, really scary. I decided to invest in ads. And for some reason, ads felt like sitting down at a freaking slot machine. Like I was just throwing money into la la land and hoping that it worked. But I finally decided I was going to do it. I invested a lot of money and hired someone to run them. And he messed them up. And because I didn't really know what I was looking at, I didn't catch the problem right away. And you guys, it's a whole messy story, but it ended up costing me about $50,000 altogether from the loss of sales because we really had our data dialed in. So I knew how much money I should be making. I remember sitting there crying and telling my husband I was so overwhelmed. Like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. I'm not going to be able to scale because everyone who really hits 7 figures, they have to scale through ads. I was so sick. And my husband looked at me and he pointed his finger at me and he was like, are you the type of business owner who only does well when things are going well? Or are you the type of business owner who looks at the data, makes decisions and moves forward, who learns from the mistakes? And at that moment in time, it really changed how I handled hard things in business. So let's recap what we covered today. Your buyer is not an entrepreneur. She's a mom. She's emotionally driven. She is scrolling to escape, and she buys when she feels understood, not when she's convinced. There are 4 types of buyers in your audience. And if you are not consistent, you're not creating all the types of content that I teach, you're going to miss them. You've got Ready Rachel, Hesitant Haley, Lurker Linda, Unaware Uma. Most of you are creating content for an imaginary buyer who's sitting there alert and ready, hunting for your solution. But that is not who is scrolling. She's tired. She's overwhelmed. She's hiding in the bathroom. She is looking for someone who understands her. When she feels understood, she buys, but not unless you have a clear path, not unless you're being confident and selling. So next week, we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about one of the most persistent lies in online business, the know, like, trust framework, and why the way you've been taught to think about it is so freaking backwards for your audience. So trust me, you don't want to miss it. Okay, that was your cosmic slap on the booty for this week. I want you to go sell your offer. As always, hit subscribe, leave a review, and tell me what you love. Tell me what you're struggling with so that we can create episodes that actually help you. And I will see you again next week. Bye for now.